It doesn't look like there will be an early end to violence in Myanmar, but we still need to be optimistic, right? So personally, you see any ray of hope that the violence will subside somehow, and then there will be room for some kind of peaceful negotiations that will lead to an end to this thing.
In my view, violence will not subside if ASEAN doesn't do anything. So I think that ASEAN and diplomacy should be given a chance to play an important role. I think that ASEAN can play a very important role. Our principle of ASEAN centrality has to be implemented. We are the center for cooperation, and we have to be a center for conflict resolution to resolve problems in our region. I hope that ASEAN leaders would be able to meet and to see how we can support Myanmar. First of all, I think ASEAN leaders would have to express clear message that we cannot tolerate violence. We cannot tolerate the gross and systematic violation of basic human rights. Basically, the military or the police, the security personnel cannot use lethal weapons against civilians. I think that's the first thing that ASEAN leaders should call upon.
But ASEAN way is to stick to non-interference. Does it still work in this case? What's your take on this principle?
Well, I think it is the international law principle, and also it's a principle enshrined in the UN Charter that there are situations where it ceases to be the issue of the domestic jurisdiction, and one of which is the gross violation of basic human rights. So the gross violation of basic human rights make it not the issue of domestic concern, not the issue of within the domestic jurisdiction, but of international concern, but of regional concern. So when you have this issue of police using real weapons, lethal weapons, and so on and so forth, it's already outside the principle or the agreement or the policy or the practice rather of non-interference in domestic jurisdiction. It is the issue of regional concern. So I think that we have to understand the meaning of the non-interference to domestic affairs. And in fact, I just would like to point out that the ASEAN Chair Statement issued on February 1st already call upon Myanmar to respect the principle enshrined in the ASEAN Charter, i.e. Principle of democracy, human rights and basic freedom. And in stating these principles, you are already interfering in the domestic affairs of Myanmar, because the coup d'etat or the taken over of the administration happened on the 1st of February. It's already contrary to the principle of democracy, the retaining of the or the arrest of the leaders of democracy is already against the human rights and fundamental freedom.
The shuttle diplomacy being played by Indonesia is exactly something that many people say that is what Thailand should be doing. Or do you think that Thailand should be happy with the role of a quiet diplomacy and then leave the rest of ASEAN countries to play that role in the open?
I think Thailand can pick and choose what role fits us best. If Indonesia has already taken initiative of the shuttle diplomacy, I think we already did the right thing in supporting that shuttle diplomacy by receiving Foreign Minister of Indonesia and inviting Foreign Minister of Myanmar to come to Thailand and have a trilateral talk. So although we did not do the shuttle diplomacy ourselves, but we have supported the shuttle diplomacy role. So the role can be initiated by anyone who has a just about right personality, environment that can be accepted. I'm sure that if it is a foreign minister of another country, which I will not name names, coming to Thailand, Myanmar foreign minister will not come. So that shows that the Thai foreign minister, Indonesian foreign minister, are just right people that foreign minister of Myanmar would come. So I think that if Indonesia will have the initiative of the shutter diplomacy, if chairman of ASEAN, i.e. Brunei, would initiate another type of diplomacy, Thailand is in a very good position to support. But I think Thailand has the best position to do quiet diplomacy via the Thai military. I think the Thai military is very suitable to work on the quiet diplomacy in order to convince Myanmar military to come to the negotiating table. Thai military may not be able to convince Aung San Suu Kyi. You may have to find someone else. That's why I said that ASEAN may have to come up with EPG, perhaps eminent persons group, a person with regional stature, regional statesman, 2 or 3 plus representative of the Thai military go into Myanmar quietly, talking to the Tatmadaw and also to Aung San Suu Kyi and convince them to come to the negotiating table.